What's up, guys? Welcome to another Sunday live stream. So you might be wondering, why the fuck is he starting at 8:30? Don't you usually start at 9 o'clock? And by 9 o'clock, more like 9:30, because you're always late as fuck. That's because we have a special guest stop. And so, we have to work around his schedule a little bit. So anyway, thank you everybody for coming on. This one, we're not going to go for too long. We're going to go for maybe 45 minutes to an hour, just depending on things go. I think I might have the COVID, so that's going to probably weigh into my ability to really provide value. But anyway, man, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
Do you want to start off by giving a little bit of background about yourself?
Yeah. So my name is Lloyd. I have the channel TheSingleGuy, which is in parentheses. I am not the single guy, but that's the name of the channel. So basically, I came out with this channel about a couple years ago, and I had been going out and doing my thing for a while. I kind of come out of like the traditional pickup advice that a lot of people turn to at that period of time. And I found it just wasn't really working for people. And I thought that if someone kind of took a more well-rounded approach to the process, rather than making a bunch of guys weirder, I thought that would be a good thing to do. And I didn't really see anybody doing it at that time. So that's really what I do, is I kind of like help practical and logical guys, get the dating lives that they want. Me and my own story, I went through a lot of hell to actually get the dating life that I have right now, and I don't want you guys to all have to go through that. So that's why I started the channel that I'm doing. So I feel very privileged.
Pretty helpful, man. Can you give a short and dirty version of the hell that you went through?
Dude, I went out like 5 nights a week for like 4 or 5 years, some shit like that. Was a slow learner, but had sex with a few hundred girls during that period of time. And that was just all for me, just literally just walking out of my house, like, just talking shit to girls. Not talking shit, but just like talking whatever.
Yo, bitch.
Yeah.
You're ugly.
What's up?
Like, yo, bitch, you ugly. Let me get your number.
Dude, we used to have like so many. I used to hang out with a lot of black guys. So anytime they saw like a white girl, he would just yell out, Katie. So every white girl that walked by, we would just yell Katie at, and some of them would turn around, some of them would just be like, what? Like a couple times it actually worked, but yeah, it was being ridiculous half the time. It was good fun. But my goal is to help guys get better results than I did during the first part of that.
Gotcha. Let's see, what else? So when you primarily do cold approach, or you mostly focus online, or what's like your specialty?
So I don't focus a whole lot online, just because my online profiles haven't been that good. I mean, I get a decent amount. I get better than decent. I do well on online, but it's nothing compared to what I'm capable of, doing in real life. Just going out and talking to girls, making friends, starting social groups, those kinds of things. I'm just way better at doing that, and I find that I can get way hotter, better girl doing those sorts of things. So that's what I stick to. It's been admittedly harder since right when COVID happened. It was pretty tough. Like nobody was going out, but it's definitely achievable now.
What's it called? Do you primarily do day game or night game?
I do both. I was just at brunch today, and I talked to some girls that were sitting next to us, just like eating. So if I'm going about my day and I'm outside, I'll usually like have a chat with somebody. But if I'm like going hard, I'll go out most nights. Yeah.
I'm kind of the same way, in the sense that I don't do like day game sessions. I just chat up girls and go about my day. So if I'm just like doing something and then I see a girl, I'll talk her up. What are your thoughts on like doing like day game sessions?
So I've actually go ahead. You first.
Well, my thought is that it's good when you're starting out, because if you're a beginner, you're going to come up with excuses not to approach girls in your day-to-day life. So you're going to be like, oh, she was walking a little too fast and stuff like that, right? So you need that accountability that comes with, going out with one of your buddies and doing a day game session. But as you start to improve, it can be a little bit detrimental, because mentally it puts you in that like, okay, it's time to do pickup frame versus like, this is part of my day-to-day life.
So it's inherently a weird thing. People don't do that shit. So like if to start out, I think you should do it, just because, like you said, if you just tell them, hey, well, just talk to people in your everyday life. Dude, most of my clients' everyday life is like him sitting in front of the computer by himself all day.
Yeah, sure.
So like that's his everyday life is going to involve 0 women, and it's not going to work for him. So what I recommend that he does is, first of all, orient his life, his schedule, so he is actually getting out of the house for one thing. But if he has to schedule day game sessions in there, like do it. And yeah, sure, it's going to be a little weird to start out with, but don't start from like, oh, I gotta like get 5 numbers. Just be like, hey, let me ask like a couple women for the time, or just say hi to people. Or if you can't say hi, bro, just make eye contact with like 5 people, 5-10 people, and then build your way up from there. Because if you go out and like the first time you go out and you like, okay, I'm gonna go. I don't like to call it day game. It's like talking to girls. If I go out to talk to girls and I say, okay, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get like 3 numbers and I'm gonna get a date out of this. And you go out and you get 0 numbers and you probably only make like one half-hearted approach and it goes to shit, then you're gonna be walking back thinking you're a fucking loser. But if you go out with the intention of say, hey, I'm gonna make eye contact with 5 people and smile, and you go out and you do that, your brain has just told you that you can accomplish tasks. Whereas in the other scenario, you went out and did, maybe slightly more, but he has less motivation to go out the next time. He's not building up any momentum, and he's just killing his confidence. The other guy is building up his confidence.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think this goes into setting like smart goals. So like, let's say, you're new to going to the gym, right? You wouldn't set your goal for by the end of the first week, I'm gonna, deadlift 400 pounds, right? Because you're just gonna either get injured or you're gonna, be severely disappointed. But,
absolutely.
You have to understand like what you are capable of doing. Now, the cool thing about game is that with with like the gym and a lot of things, there's that physical. Like you could have the best fucking attitude ever and the best training regimen. It's still gonna take you a few years to get there. You know what I mean? Even if you do steroids, it'll take you like half a year. Like it's still not. There's no way to do it. With like pickup, you can like kind of do that. You can kind of skip some steps.
Or some guys can. Some guys can.
Some steps, yes. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting because a lot of it is mental and just building that resilience, desensitizing yourself to negative outcomes and shit like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's one skill that is like probably one of the harder ones for me to get my students to do, but it's like so like if a guy can already do this, he can skip like you said like a bunch of steps and still do pretty well. And there's some guys who, when you talk to them, you get like positive energy from them. You just get like this positive feeling. They're just really good at that. I find those kinds of guys, they just need to learn how to harness and direct that energy in the right way so they actually get laid. And then if you have to develop that within them, then those guys can't skip steps. But if they already have that skill, then they can skip a lot of steps and do really well really quickly.
Would you say positive energy is a skill?
It's kind of like when you're talking to somebody, like, do you feel something when you're talking to them? Or is it just kind of like a boring conversation? Some guys who can't do terrible with women, they can do that. They actually have a good like they themselves talk very, they have a little bit higher energy, and they are able to like give that energy to people when they talk to them. So they do very well when they're out, and all those sorts of stuff, but they just can't direct the energy in the right way to actually get the girl turned on and get them laid. You know what I mean? So it's there. It's like there's a certain baseline level skill there, but they just don't know how to harness it. They have no sense of direction. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You ever have a student who, for example, is like that? He's really good when he's talking to his friends, to family, to anyone else. But when he's talking to girls that he's attracted to, none of it is there.
Yeah, all the time. All the time, dude. I say for those guys, a lot more students think they're like that than actually are. When I find with their speaking, they actually still have to do some work. But yeah, a lot of guys, they kind of fall into that category. And in some of the extreme examples, I'll get a guy who was like, I got one dude who had like, oh God, he had been like a year-long dry spell or something crazy like that. And that's not the craziest too, by the way. I've had plenty of 4-year-old versions and stuff come me for help. But this guy was like a year-long dry spell or something like that. And the way he was talking to me, I could tell he was going to do well. And then just within like 2 weeks, dude, that's all it took. He was killing it. And he just needed to learn how to direct his energy in the right way and start doing the right things and kind of follow the format that I give people.
The reason I bring this up, one of my closest friends, my first swing ever, me and him both started at a very low point. But the difference is that, I got to a much higher point. He more or less stayed the same.
Yeah.
First wing. He won't mind his name. His name is MJ. So he is fascinating because when he interacts in any situation, like he's gone to my family get-togethers, he's met my girlfriends, he's met my other friends. Everyone fucking loves this guy. Like everyone's like, he's so charming. Like he is the most charming guy ever. He's so smooth. He has the best energy, and everyone cannot figure out how is this guy single. Whenever he interacts with women that he's into, it's 100% guy. Hey there. Like, the weather today, it's kind of cold. And then when he's hanging out with like I took him to my family reunion. He didn't know any fucking people there. It's like 50 Russians. None of them, like half of them don't speak English and shit. And he's like fucking doing the Russian can dance and shit like that. he's like the life of the party. So yeah.
I think that guy, dude, I think guys like that, they need to learn to develop kind of an edge to themselves. And like, I guess for lack of a better term, embrace their dark side a little bit. With the giving people positive energy, if they're super happy, like super fun all the time, that's cool. Yeah, you can be the center of attention at a party for a little bit. But is a girl going to actually sleep with you with that attitude? It's going to be tough. And I think if you develop that side of yourself, embrace kind of like the dark edge to yourself, you can, once you have that, that's the missing piece of the puzzle. What do you think?
Well, I find that having the positive energy is an essential component, but it's not actually. It's a very useful component, but it's not enough. You also need to be able to build sexual tension.
Exactly it, and that's what I mean by the edge thing, like developing a little bit of that. Like, get her to feel like, oh, dude, why am I drawn to this guy?
yeah, exactly. Like she could really like you, but then if there's no sexual tension, she'll more likely think of you more of a friend. So she's like, wow, I really want this guy in my life. She'll give you her number. But then she's just gonna friend zone you.
Exactly. If you can't picture the girl getting pissed at you, she's probably not gonna sleep with you.
If she what?
If you can't picture the girl getting mad at you or getting pissed at you, she's probably not gonna sleep with you. Because those guys they're the harmless guys that like, okay, it'd be a good friend. But if it's someone that can get under her skin, and I'm not saying do it intentionally, you know what I mean? But if you are someone who has the potential for that, then there's a good chance that she'll. That's a key component of desire, I believe.
What do you think about negging?
Oh God.
Yeah,
I don't have really. Well. I don't have really positive because it comes from like a kernel of truth. That's where it comes from. Where it's like you don't want to put the girl on a pedestal, but you still want to flirt with her. And for guys who are socially inexperienced, they learn this technique that they think solves the problem. Up and away. I'll give her a neg, and it ends up usually just pissing people off.
I think negging can actually. I'm not an advocate of it at all, and I'll explain why. I think it can actually be effective if you do it right. 99.5% of people will not do it right. At least
exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah.
They're going to cry, and it's going to do more harm than good. They're basically going to, by trying to put her down, they're actually just going to make themselves look like a retard. Because the inherent problem is that you're approaching the girl. She didn't approach you. You approached her. So you're like approaching someone. It's almost like if I'm trying to sell you something and you're like not really sure if you want to buy it, and I'm like, oh, come on, man, don't be a little bitch. You're like, well,
you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like now I'm not even going to entertain you, So yeah, there's a way to do it. I think a much better reframe is to look at it in terms of teasing. So I say like, don't nag girls, tease girls. Playfully
exactly, dude. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir, bro. I fully endorse that behavior, and it comes from the place for like the neg comes from a place of insecurity. They are putting already the girl on a pedestal, so they're trying to in their mind they're trying to act like they're not doing that, and so as a result they end up coming off as an uncalibrated asshole, and it just sounds weird.
Sometimes yes, but sometimes it could be they're doing it because they think that's what they're supposed to do.
Oh yeah, that too. You're right.
And there's a lot of misconception in the pickup community. How did you wind up getting into coaching?
So I wanted to do it for a while. That's the truth. I grew up kind of like a guy who didn't do well with women, obviously. Very logical, like kind of nerdy guy growing up. And I saw at the time was watching a lot of RSD back when RSD was, posting a lot of infield and stuff like that back in the good old days. You get away with all that stuff. And I was watching a lot of that, and I just felt like when I was watching them, like I said, like there was something missing, you know. But I liked, you know, there was a lot of stuff that I did like what they had to say. And I saw the lifestyle that they were living. I saw some of the guys, not a lot of them, unfortunately, didn't get as much help as these guys. But some guys, their lives changed for the better. And at the time, I was working for like a software company called Oracle, and it was just like the shittiest job of all time. And I wanted to build something that I thought mattered. And I couldn't think of anything else that mattered more to me than this. And helping people out with that was probably the best thing that I could do with my own life and my existence here. So I decided to dedicate myself fully to it after that.
What was the transition like for you? Like going from like working for a software company to coaching, you know, a bunch of
yeah, it was kind of messy, dude. I'd like to know your story actually after this too, because I don't know it. But yeah, I mean, I was working for Oracle. I worked for them for like 3 years, and I don't know if you had a shitty job before this, but like the second I set foot in that office, I was like, I don't want to be here. Like that was the first thought that went through my mind. Like, get me the. Like as soon as I set foot in the office, I'm looking at the clock already. Like that's where you don't want to be, right? And so I spent 3 years in this fucking company because the money was good. Like I was just a shitty employee. I was hoping they'd fire me. Like that's how bad of an employee. Like have you seen the movie Office Space?
Yeah, I love that movie.
It was exactly like Office Space. Like
what exactly would you say you do around here? I'm a people person.
Yeah, exactly. Bro, that was like I would lie the amount of lying that I did during performance reviews was insane. And the amount of lying that I did was like par for the course at that company. Like everyone was like this. It was just I'm just like no one's contributing to anything here, and everybody hates their lives. And so I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. But I was too much of a pussy to quit because I was making enough money that I could live comfortably in San Francisco and go out pretty much every single night, which I was, and I was showing up to work late every day.
That's just living comfortably in San Francisco is making a lot of money.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was good.
San Francisco, even like $5,000 a month, you're not going to be living comfortably.
I mean, granted, I was broke all the time because any money that I had left over, I was spending on drinks, freaking Ubers, and like.
It's kind of hard not to when the rent is like $5,000 a month or some shit like that. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and so like all of that, and I was just thinking like, if I quit this job, like I'm not going to be able to pay rent, and so at the end of it, I just said, fuck it, like I'm done. So I quit the job. I somehow managed to save like a few grand, and I just used that money to go travel for about a year in Asia at the fucking best time ever. You know, hooked up with a shitload. I mean, it's like hooking up with girls while you're traveling and hooking up with girls in San Francisco is like night and day difference. Of course. Yeah.
First of all, you're in Asia where like your sexual market value just jumps through the roof.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny. I only stuck to Europeans. I only stuck to people who were traveling. There was a few girls in Thailand that were Asian that I hooked up with, but like it was pretty much all Europeans at the hostel.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, but even those girls were not too hard because they're on vacation, they're having a good time, and yeah. It was a lot. It was a great time, and I kind of knew what I was going to do before then. So like for me, it just solidified that this is what I was going to do. And I was gonna whatever it took to make it work. I didn't know how I was gonna make it work, but I was gonna find a way.
Yeah, I mean, my story, there's some similarities. I've told it several times, so I'm just gonna give you the condensed version. But basically, I was working in solar sales, and I was actually that job. So I know exactly what you're talking. I've had jobs before that I didn't like office jobs were exactly my experiences working in an office were exactly like yours. I come in late, make an excuse. Oh, you know, the traffic. There's no fucking traffic in New Jersey. Fucking just fuck off for the whole day. You know, just lie bullshit. I mean, I remember dude one time like this is the dumbest fucking thing ever. I actually did wind up getting fired from that job. I fucked around so much that even though they didn't fire anybody, they fired me. But I remember one time, dude. So we had like ice cream day or something like that because of the president had a birthday, something like that. So basically there was a lot of extra ice cream in the freezer, right? And that ice cream was supposed to be for like, when we have like office functions and shit like that. So I was like, all right, this is the only thing that makes this job redeemable besides the money. So every day I would like steal an ice cream like as I was leaving work, right? So I'd just go in the freezer, take one. And then I was like, you know what? I could just take two. Oh, you know what? Like I could just take.
Keep up in the ante, right?
Oh yeah, dude. I started doing that. So I remember one day I went to the fridge, fucked up from work early. I'm walking out, and I got like I got one ice cream sandwich in my mouth because both my hands are full, and I got two in my fucking pocket. And I see my boss, the vice president, the president standing outside, and they just look at me, and I'm just like, they're like, "Hi, Alex." I'm like, "Oh."
Well, this guy's getting fired.
I didn't know that. I was fired like a few weeks after that. But anyway, so I've had experiences like that. But how I got into coaching was I was working in a solar job, and I actually really liked that because I was a sales trainer, which is actually pretty fun. So I was like, like now I coach dudes how to fuck girls. At that time, I was training dudes and women how to sell better, which is also, has a lot of similarities, let's just say.
Quite
so it was quite fun. And then just in my free time, I would just write articles. So I created a Facebook group, just invited my friends, and I didn't advertise that at all. People just invited each other. And I would just post lay reports and like stories about my hookups, right?
Mm-hmm.
Purely for fun, no intention of ever monetizing it. And then I started getting hit up as the group grew and grew. I started getting requests for coaching. So people would PM me like, "Hey man, do you do coaching?" I was like, "No, I didn't even know that's a thing." Like, "Oh, come on, I'll throw you $50 for an hour." I was like, "Okay." And so I started getting a lot of requests like that. And then the company I worked for went bankrupt almost overnight. So everyone lost their jobs, like 500 people. And then I was like, I had a year of unemployment. So I didn't want to jump into another solar job because I would lose that. So I was like, let me see how far I can get with this coaching thing. And then from there, I started a YouTube channel, wrote my products. So there's a lot. I mean, it wasn't smooth by any means. There's a lot of ups and downs. But so that was kind of the general progression for me.
Nice. Yeah, dude, thank God you did it. This is the place to be, I think. You can be selling technology, but I prefer helping people.
Yeah, I mean, I have mixed feelings about the pickup industry. I think that I definitely met some very cool people as a result of this, and I'm grateful for that because even one really awesome person in my life is really valuable, as corny as that sounds. But also, this industry is just full of like internet marketers, scammers, like snake oil salesmen. I think of it as, I don't think the pickup industry is particularly worse than other industries. It's kind of like the fitness industry. Like most guys in the fitness industries, what are they doing? They're saying they're natural while they're on like 5 different steroids and saying that supplement that gets you jacked. So there's a lot of that type of shit in the pickup industry, which I don't like, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and that's why I don't really. My channel is more of a dating channel. It's a dating advice channel. I felt like the pickup stuff was missing something, and that's what I felt like it was missing. It didn't look at everything. Like all the stuff that you're saying were, okay, well, this guy's like 6'5" and 230 pounds, all muscle, and he can just walk up to girls and pick them up super easily. He's like, buy my product. And you're like, okay, dude, well, if I looked like you, I might be able to get something out of it. But looking at all of the aspects that are actually behind it and finding something that works for people regardless of their prerequisites, so to speak, I think is the way to go about it.
Yeah, what I found was really lacking. There was almost no middle ground. So there was the school of thought, which is like what RSD preaches, and like a lot of other companies, which is looks don't matter, doesn't matter, looks don't matter at all. It's all about your game, your internal game, your body, all that. That's one extreme.
Yeah.
Another extreme, you have everything's reversed. I have to get used to that. But another end, you have like the red pill, black pill community, which basically says, "What are you stupid?" It's all looks. Like it looks determine everything. If you're not good looking, you're never going to get the Stacy's. You better settle for a fucking Karen or whatever. I was tracking.
Yeah.
So there was like the two extremes. So there's very few people who are saying, actually, looks are very important and you should focus on going to the gym, getting jacked, getting your hairstyle on point, going to the barber shop, just maximizing every aspect of your sexual market value. But also, game matters as well because there's a lot of very good-looking guys who don't get laid at all, and you need to focus on maximizing your game as well. So these are two. It's not one or the other. They're both equally important sides of the coin. So I found there's really not a lot of that.
And you know what? There was so the first guy that I really heard talking about like this was who Tucker Max is? Yeah,
dude, that's so funny you say that. That was Tucker Max was well before I ever got into pickup. He was my first exposure to this kind of thing.
Yeah, just like hooking up with girls and stuff. So he came out with this book, and he had a podcast series too, the Mating Grounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first time that I had actually seen a book, written by someone like that. But I just found that him as a coach, like he could have been a little bit more empathetic towards guys. And I was like, there should be a better version of this. And so that's really where I wanted to take the Single Guy, my channel and all the coaching services that I offer into that direction. Because I was like, this is something where like if some dude who's crazy about pickup, like he's not going to get weirder reading this. And I felt like for some of the material out there for guys who were just doing pickup, like that's what I saw. I saw a lot of that happening where guys were just getting weirder. And I was like, okay, well, you
live in Austin, right?
Now I just moved. Yeah, I'm outside of Austin. Place
Tucker Max lives in Austin.
I do, and I know my business partner knows him, so I'll probably meet him at some point. I don't know if he's not fucking around with this industry anymore. He's mostly just doing publishing, I think.
Yeah,
so
he's married with kids. He just had his third kid, but he's still very much he speaks at marketing conferences. My buddy saw him at a marketing conference, so he's more active in the marketing side of it rather than actually picking up girls. Yeah.
I mean, I'll probably meet him at some point. I'd like to. I've been a fan for his work for a long time, so hopefully he's not too much of a dick to me.
yeah. He's very much a entertainment writer. He's one of those people who should not be coaching pickup simply because, like you said, he doesn't have the empathy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I thought. And what's funny is that he tried to have empathy, and it just didn't work.
Well, he's a classical narcissist. I mean, he admits it himself. He's very much a narcissist. Which actually,
so I was like,
some coaches
are. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was saying with his program, it was headed. I could see it was headed in the right direction, and I just thought that it was, it wasn't quite there yet.
Did you ever see his movie, the I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell, but not the book?
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, but I kind of felt like when you said about it was headed in the right direction, I kind of felt like the movie also kind of sucked, but it had potential. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
I actually watched that movie a few times. They fucked up the lighting so bad. The movie it looked so amateur, and there's so many but it had potential. It was a good idea. It just was executed really badly.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of those things happen in this industry where it's somebody makes it big and then they do something when the pickup stuff was going on and Mystery was the figurehead of all that. You see this guy on TV and you're just why is that the guy who's the fucking spokesperson for this movement?
I know it's a dude. Dude,
can we pick somebody fucking normal?
Yeah, I know. The problem is this is why I don't like saying I don't like official especially when I'm talking to chicks. They're I'll tell them what I do. So you're a pickup artist coach? I don't like associating with that because the association with pickup artists is dudes who dress really weird, who are obnoxious, just spam approach everybody, do weird magic tricks and things.
It's what do you tell? I mean, I just tell women that I'm a dating coach. That's usually what
I say sex and dating coach.
Sex and dating coach? Yeah, that works.
I like to put the sex in there because girls are really? Well, what advice would you give me about my sex life? I was are you struggling in that department? And then you just, very easy to sexualize.
Yeah, super easy. Dude, talking about sex is so good. I should probably add the sex and dating coach in there too.
Dude, I have that everywhere. On my Instagram, it says sex and dating coach. On my Tinder, it says sex and dating coach, everywhere.
It's a good idea. I mostly just focus on the dating stuff, but I do tons of videos on sex too. It's it's an important part, right?
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's crack into some questions. We have a good amount building up. So
okay, cool.
Just gonna pop them on screen. Can you explain objections over concerns a bit more? So this is a technicality that I wouldn't. I'll answer the question, of course, but I wouldn't obsess over it too much because you're going to more or less deal with them in a similar way. So a concern would be something where the girl is, okay, I'll give an example. A concern would be oh, you want me to come straight over? What if we don't like each other? Haha. That would be a concern. So she's concerned about the idea of coming over, but she's looking for reassurance from you. So she's looking for you to reassure her and make her feel comfortable with ideas. She's concerned, but she's not fully objecting to it. The objection would be I don't go straight to a guy's house on the first date. Sorry. She's actively saying that she's not going to come over, and there's no amount of real reassurance in that situation that's going to deal with it. With an objection, you need to basically take some course of action to, like that course of action could be meeting her in public. It could be getting her on the phone and building comfort, but simply reassuring her with a text isn't going to cut it. So that's kind of how I look at it. So yeah, when you see a concern, basically what you want to do is, you want to reassure the girl, right? So you want to make her feel at ease. You do that through a combination of logic and humor. You don't want to be too humorous or too logical. So if a girl says, you're going to, you want me to come straight over? What if we don't like each other? I would say, it's okay, we can meet in the lobby first. I got to make sure you're not a 300-pound black guy or something like that. So it's like the logical part and the humor part. What's your take on that?
Yeah, concerns are good. I like it when a girl it means she's interested. Objections are fine too, honestly. You can work with something there. But I think the way that you were going about it's a pretty good way of breaking that down.
Yeah, I mean, like when I used to do sales, like it was like, for example, a concern would be, I typically don't, like when I was, because we always try to get same day sales, I typically don't make big decision. This looks good, but I don't know. I don't typically make decisions, without really thinking it over. That was more of a concern versus objection would be like, I really appreciate the pitch, but I have never once in my life made a decision. So I'm going to talk to my wife first, and then we'll get back to you. So that would be like kind of the, difference there. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Are girls with just Instagram on Snapchats and their bio a waste of time? Most of the time, but not always. It can't hurt. An opener actually I've been using recently that I found works pretty well. If a chick only has that, I will say, I like your very detailed profile, and with a winky face. And usually it's like a nice, friendly way of calling the girl out. And I actually had a date with a girl who literally had nothing in her bio and one picture 3 days ago. And it was Bumble. She just wrote, hey, and I said, I can tell you put a lot of work in your profile. She was like, haha, stop. I just got this, blah, blah. I'm new to online dating, whatever. So,
yeah. I fuck with Instagram a little bit. I don't waste time with Snapchat. If they're just giving you the Snapchat, you should probably find somebody else who will give you something better.
I definitely agree. Snapchat is a huge fucking waste of time.
Yeah.
All right. While physically escalating at your place, how will you get her turned on enough so sex is likely to happen? Will you add dirty talk in there as well? Is it okay to be explicit? So it depends. It really just depends on the vibe, the chick. Generally what I like to do is I like to move things forward progressively, right? So the girl doesn't come, it's not like the girl comes over and then, we're talking about random shit like, hey, how was your day? Good. I'm like, hey, do you like this dick? It's like that would be kind of out of nowhere. That'd be 0 to 80 really fast. I go 0 to 5 to 10.
Yeah, she'd probably fucking leave after that too.
Depends on the girl. Some chicks in Miami would be like, do I ever?
I mean, if you laid the groundwork beforehand, that might be a perfect thing, yeah. Yeah,
so I move things forward in a very logical, progressive way. And so to answer your question, will I add dirty talk? Yes, but at a certain point. I won't add in the dirty talk if we're just talking about random shit. So I'll try to amp it up. So again, you're probably wondering, okay, what exactly do you do? So it really, it's going to depend on the situation. But for example, I'll go through the date I had recently, right? So she comes over and she's definitely shy. So sits on the couch, pour her a drink, right? Sit next to her, right? At first, I'm not even touching her, right? Because I can tell she's reluctant. Just shoot the shit with her. Then slowly intensify the eye contact so you can escalate with your eyes. Then, maybe I start brushing past her knee a little bit. I'm like, hey, look at this thick mane of hair you got here. Let me see, what color are your eyes? Let me see your fucking tiny hands, right? And like shit like that, right? But it's not just all bombarding her. That's kind of progressive. And, I'm like, hey, you want to check out the balcony? Take her on the balcony. Then in the balcony, I stand behind her. So then escalate with proximity, right? And then, kind of escalate with my voice. So I slow down my speech and more whisper in her ear. So shit like that. At that point, once you've escalated that way, then it's okay to get into some dirty talk.
Cool. Yeah. With this guy's question, I don't want him to think that his goal is to bring the girl back and then start physically escalating with her. You should be doing that. You should have some sort of tension or physical connection before you've even gotten to that point.
Yes.
If you don't have any of that and you expect some magic to happen, it's probably not.
He might be thinking, though, in case of a straight to the house date. So it's like Tinder and he invites the chick straight over.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see what you mean. Yeah. In that case, dirty talk can help, but I find that you can build tension without doing dirty talk, kind of doing some of the stuff that you said by, establishing some touch, fucking with her a little bit, teasing her, those kinds of things. It should be fun. It should be, there should be good vibes going on. If it's like really serious and you're like, oh, now it's time to institute checking out her hands and doing the high five, it's probably not going to go down.
The technique I really like is narration. I actually haven't really heard too many people talking about it, but let me know if you do something like this. So basically we'll go something like this. So we're sitting on the, we're on my balcony or whatever, and I will, in movies that have a narrator, I will narrate the situation in like a humorous and sexual way. So I'll be like, say whatever, she makes a joke. As she flirts with the guy, he moves closer and closer. The tension builds. She cannot resist his touch, right? I'm adding things to the story that are not actually happening. She thinks about whether she should kiss him or not. Is he going to turn away? Is he going to allow her to kiss him? So many emotions and feelings go in her head. All she can do is stare deep into his blue eyes, right? And you've got to add humor into it and not take it too seriously. Otherwise, it's going to come off really weird. But if you do it with humor and like in jest, it's a really good way to also move things forward, I find.
Yeah, so I'll use narration, what you were just talking about, like when there's like kind of an awkward situation where you don't really know what to do, I'll just narrate what's happening, and it kind of just like puts it into perspective. So rather than there just being a bunch of unspoken dialogue between us where we're both confused and there's an awkward situation, the fact that I put it out loud and narrated it, it allows us to deal with the situation right there. So if I see you're acting kind of weird, I might narrate. Or like there was one time where a girl was like, I asked her, I was like, hey, well, cool, I'm heading this way. Do you want to come with me? And she's like, well, yeah. And I was like, she says with sounding very unsure of herself. Like that was a narration right there. Yeah. And then by me narrating, she's like, yeah, I know. I do want to go, but I'm supposed to meet up with my friend right now. And I'm like, cool. Well, like, let's just stay here. When she comes, I'll just get your phone number and then I'll go my separate way. And she's like, yeah, that sounds great. Perfect.
You'll call your friend, you'll cancel on her, fuck her, and then you're gonna come over and fornicate with me.
Exactly. Then you can continue the narration.
Yeah, dude, I've recently been watching. I don't know. Mike Tyson was on Joe Rogan. I think that's how it started, and then I started watching some of his old clips of like, back when he was like semi crazy. I don't know why, but whenever he's like talking about women, he doesn't say I fucked her, I banged her. He's like, and then I fornicated with her. And then there's one clip that's just hilarious where it's like I don't know what the context is, but they're sitting in a circle, and I think it's like interviews or something like that. The guy's asking him questions, and then the female interviewer starts asking him questions, and he's like, I don't know why you're talking. Usually I only talk to women when I'm about to fornicate with them. So if you don't want to do that, I probably wouldn't talk if I were you, unless you want to, It's like the most awkward verbal escalation ever.
Yeah, Mike Tyson had zero game. That's why he got thrown in jail.
Yeah. Although I'll give him props. He's back now. He's fighting again. He's like 54. He's like in fucking top.
Yeah, good for him, dude. I love Mike. I think Mike's.
Homie would knock me out with like one punch at like the age of 55 or whatever.
Yeah, I saw that clip of him hitting pads. I was like, damn.
Mike
still got it.
Dude, do you know who Rampage Jackson is?
Yeah, I'm a huge MMA fan. I know. Yeah,
okay, cool. Have you ever seen the interviews where Rampage Jackson like humps?
Bro, dude, I watch those when I'm having a bad day. If I'm having a bad day, I'll just watch Rampage holler at girls like while he's being interviewed. That guy is no fucking shame, man. He's a national treasure.
He's the most relentless person ever. Straight up humping the interviewer. He's like,
fuck, dude.
Yeah, and then like it made sense to do it for a few seconds, but he just doesn't stop. He just keeps going and going. I love the part at the end where the camera guy, like, he needs to get him to stop, but he's so afraid to touch him. He gives him like the lightest touch ever. He's like, that's the shit.
Rampage just explodes on him.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to fuck with Rampage.
That would freak me out.
All right, let's see what else we got. What would you say do after sex if it wasn't your best performance so that she'd be down to see you again? Well, that's a good question.
You laugh, dude. It's not about a performance. It's about the connection that you get with that girl. Like, dude, I used to think that I had to make girls come a bunch of times to like get them to call me back. And yeah, sure, having orgasms and stuff is good. It helps. But that's not really why she's like there. Like let's say you come too quickly. Like that's one. Okay, so you come too quickly. You can either apologize, say sorry,
yeah,
or you can laugh blame it on her, tell her it was her fault. Her pussy felt so good. She was like so
Yes.
hot.
Yes.
Why'd you do that to me?
Yes.
I'm usually a stud, and you took me down.
Yeah.
And then you both laugh, you have a good time, and then you're locked and loaded and ready for round 2 in 3 minutes. Like there's 2 ways of it's about fun. It's not about putting on a performance.
100% agreed. I like what you said. Blame it on her in a playful way, not in like a blame it on her in a playful way, and then just go again. It's not like you only get one chance that whole night. It's not like once you bust this over, right? Like if you have normal hormone levels, you should be able to bang her again. Whether it's in 5 minutes or 50 minutes or an hour. I think a lot of guys, for some reason, they think they only get one shot at it. So it's like, I didn't get my best performance, and they put a lot of pressure on themselves. When like, for me, I think like, even if I bust in 30 seconds, I can just fuck her a second time. Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, or like, even, let's say you can't even get it, dude. There's a couple times where I was like, whatever, I'm at a festival or I've been partying all night, like I can't get it up because I've been like I'm drunk or whatever, and I'm just like. I just start laughing. I'm like, well, sweetheart, I guess we got what we got. So let's do some hand stuff for a little bit and see if this kicks in later.
Okay,
and like, what?
Let's do some foot stuff.
Yeah, let's do some foot stuff or ears, whatever the fuck. I don't know. Yeah, and then you're just like, what makes it bad is when you start to feel like ashamed and it's this weird. You bring that weird vibe into the whole mix. That's not going to help you out.
Because then she thinks it's a bigger deal than it is.
Yeah, women usually blame themselves. You guys, they usually don't. Oh, is there something wrong with me? Is that why you can't get hard? You just gotta let them know that you're still having a good time with them, and like that's usually the most important thing.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Aside from what are you looking for on here? Do you have any other lines transition from the opener? So that actually is not a transition. That's a screening text I would use later down the line. I would never use that message after the opener. I only use that text after there's some investment that's been built. Do you have any other lines to transition?
Wait, Alex, do you actually use that line a lot?
I used to all the time. I don't as much anymore. I
never use it. I never use it.
So it was a huge component part of my game for a while, and it's not like I hate, but nowadays I don't, simply because I just have better ways of like screening her and stuff like that. I can just pick up on the very subtle nuances in her writing style. But when I was like intermediate, yeah, for sure. I mean, typically say you give her the opener and then she says, haha, hey, right? She doesn't give you much. So at that point, I might say like, I like your style, right? Give her like a generic compliment, but not compliment about something that she was given, like her looks, about something that she had to earn, which was her style, or something she had to accomplish. So I think that's a big distinction with compliments. You don't want to compliment things that the girl had no choice over. Like she was born attractive, but you want to compliment things that she worked towards. So it's going to have totally different effects. So I might ask her a question like, are you from here originally? I like that question because it just gets the conversation going. I might compliment something specific. I would say sexy tattoos or something like that, right? But something that also, or I might say if she has a dog in her picture, like, is that your dog? And all of these basically just provide me a nice segue, because when she says, yeah, it is, I would say, cool, maybe we can go on a double date or something like that, because I have a husky in my pictures. If she says, haha, thanks, I like them too, and then I could say, oh, are you at the point where you just don't count anymore, right? And then just start talking about tattoos, and I can talk about my tattoos. So basically, I'm looking for something that I can just use to generate a conversation at that point.
Yeah. Usually what I do after, I mean, I don't really, it's different every time when I send like one of the first things that comes into my mind. And then after that, the way that I transition into there is I just look for things that are going to be fun. I try and have fun, get the vibe first, and then figure out, what she's looking for later on. And the way I figure that out is I invite her to stuff. And if she's down for it, it's probably my kind of girl. If she's not down for it, probably not my kind of girl.
Yeah, you can gather a lot of information just by inviting the girl straight to your place for a bottle of wine. See how she reacts to that. Is she all about it, or is she hardcore hesitating? People always think that I only use this like direct style when it comes to online numbers, because online girls are easier. So to basically prove them wrong, I have the same exact, some modifications, but just cold approach numbers, I still invite them straight over for a bottle of wine. So I put out a video recently on how to text cold approach numbers. But basically, I don't know why I thought of this, but basically, this doesn't mean like, I wouldn't say what are you looking for to a cold approach number, because it's not going to make any sense because I'm the one that approached her. So there is some context that's necessary. Like, I'll still, generally speaking, like if I meet a girl cold approach, I'll still keep it fun and flirty right off the bat. Maybe make some sexual innuendos like I do with my texting online numbers, and I'll use the same clothes. I invite her over for some wine. And honestly, I find that my success rate with having girls come straight over, it's about the same from cold approach numbers as it is with online. It's not drastically different.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I can't make the live lecture, so hopefully you guys answer the mini as possible. Thanks in advance, tribe. For sure, bro. We answered every single one of your questions, so check it out. We got the guy cool as fuck. All right. I'm assuming they're talking about you because this guy is on there all the time.
Thanks, guys.
Lately, I've been having one-night stands with 8s and 9s, okay, on a regular basis, 6 new girls per month. How do you keep a girl of that caliber on your rotation or as a girlfriend? Thanks. The same way you would keep a girl of any caliber in your rotation. It's not like when the chick is hot, you have to do something drastically different to keep her around. It's the same exact thing. You just want to give her a good time, fuck her well, not be needy, really, cuddle afterwards. That's really there's no magic formula.
Yeah, and so like this is one thing that guys who are, when you're starting to get into this area, dude, where you're starting to get some initial success, one thing that I've noticed that guys are not very good at is they are not very good at like communicating with the girl, and they tend to think they keep having to play the games that they played together in the first place, and you're just gonna make yourself crazy if that's how you got her. And you keep doing that, you're gonna lose her. It's gonna be weird. Like, I don't lie to the women that I'm with. They know that I'm not monogamous with them. They know what kind of guy I am. And if you're the kind of person who is putting on an act to get these women, expect to lose them very quickly, or expect to lose them in random circumstances. So come be who you are at the beginning, and you'll use a lot less effort to get them in the first place and a lot less effort to keep them around.
I put this as much mental effort into texting and like retaining my booty calls as I do in texting one of my close friends, right? Meaning, like, I care about my friends, and if it's their birthday or something like that, I'll try to be considerate, and if they're having a problem, I'll like try to listen. But I don't like try to game my friends. I'm not like, okay, how do I get this guy over my place on Friday? Like I gotta set it up. Okay, I'm gonna soft close him, then I'm gonna neg him a little bit, and then I'm gonna get this motherfucker over, and we're gonna drink a beer. So it's almost the same mindset. The only difference is that there's a lot more sexual humor and sexual references, which I do with my male friends.
Do you talk to girls on the phone, Alex?
Are we talking about booty calls, existing girls, or are we talking about
just like a girl that I don't know if you're seeing a girl for a little bit. Like, do you talk to her on the phone at all?
Yeah, but with reason. Like, for example, one of my booty calls, it was her birthday yesterday. I forgot about it, so I called her to wish her a happy birthday and just like chat with her for like 10 minutes. So I will, but like it's not. I don't just call randomly like, oh, it's Friday night, like I'm gonna check in, or like I gotta talk to them. And there's always a good cause behind it. You know what I mean? If I need to, but I'm not like hesitant to do it. It's just like I don't do it as part of any strategy. It's like more of like, just like I would call one of my friends if it was their birthday. Yeah.
I think a call every once in a while really helps.
I think if you're separated by distance, it's going to be a good part of your strategy. So, for example, if you're gone for the summer, right? So you guys are going to be apart for 3 months. In that case, I think it's definitely going to be a lot more adamant to do it.
Yeah, I mean, like let's say you got a couple girls that you're seeing. You can't see one of the girls for a whole week or something like that, or even a couple weeks. Like, you should probably talk to her on the phone or FaceTime her during that period of time, just to like check in on her, see how she's doing. Like, if you can't hurt her, if you still want to keep seeing her,
you can't hurt.
She might be down when you come back, but if you like the girl and you want to keep her around, then you got to put a little bit of work in.
Yeah, I'll do shit like like their story. I'll write something humorous, like they'll have a story, where like maybe they're showing off their booty. I'd be like, damn girl, the whole world is. I thought that booty was special for me, or something like that. I do a lot of shit like that. It takes a few seconds, but but again, I don't like try to.
I love writing creepy shit like that and saying that to girls.
I know.
It's like, yeah.
Dude, I had this one chick on Instagram. She posted a picture where It was like she was looking like real fucking sexual, and it said, "If you ever got a boner from any of my pictures, Venmo me $5." So I wrote on her comments, "What if I got half a chub?" And then she DM'd me like a few hours later, "Hey, how are you?" Like shit like that. So.
Oh yeah.
She lives in a completely different state, and with COVID, she hasn't been traveling. But if it wasn't for that, I think that would have been a like high probability lead.
Good. Yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah. Dude, there's a lot of women that are like lonely as fuck right now, you know. So sliding into those DMs.
Yeah, I think it's just human nature, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do like one or two more questions, and then we'll
Sure.
So, how are guys meeting girls during quarantine? So, honestly, I'm meeting girls more or less the same way. I'm doing, mainly online, but still some cold approach that I see, when I'm walking my dog or shit like that. So, really, I wouldn't say anything has drastically changed for me. What about yourself?
Cool. Okay, so I got a couple girls that I'm meeting online, but I got laid a week ago. I met a girl at a restaurant. But a couple weeks before then, I was in LA filming I'm actually coming out with a product this Friday called the Practical Approaching System, and
nice.
All of this was filmed. I got a bunch of girls to come over to my hotel room on Sunday night. So I went out to the beach for 2 hours. So everywhere is closed. It's like the second lockdown in LA. Like literally I got there and we're supposed to film. It's like the second lockdown in LA. And I'm like, fuck, dude. What am I gonna do? So I go to the only place that's like really open, which is the beach. Okay. Walk around, I get like 6 numbers or something like that. I text all of them and I told them that I was like, hey, I'm thinking of, me and my friends were thinking about having like kind of like a party or a kickback later. And I would just tell them about that. And I was like, listen, if you guys are interested, just, shoot me a text or let me know if you can make it or not. And that was my excuse to get their phone number. So I got all their numbers. Bro, I had like 8 girls back at my place. 2 of them were models. One of them was like, the hottest one there wasn't even a model. She was just really fucking hot. And like I'm back at this hotel with like 8 girls, just me and my buddy. And we're like all talking about sex. They're like saying how they're like bisexual and stuff. We're like having like makeouts. I obviously got laid. Like it's possible. Like you can do this. And here's the thing. When women don't have a place to go, like you can do like what Alex does, or you can do what I did, which is like have your own fucking party at your place. It makes things so much easier. Okay, so wherever there's desperation or wherever there's like trying times, there's always opportunities if you know how to use it. And for me, the opportunity there was that like very few guys were talking to girls on the beach. Even fewer guys were like actually making moves and making shit happen. And there just wasn't a whole lot of like fun opportunity around. So I provided that opportunity there.
Girls who were like hesitant purely because of COVID. Do you get?
There was like a few girls that I talked to that were like stay 6 feet away, like were really nervous about it. So I'm super respectful when I talk to a girl, and like as you should be when you first walk up to a girl in general. Like I don't think you should be closer than 6 feet when you first start talking to them anyway. So I usually start from that point, and then I kind of gauge how COVID worried they are by trying to give them a high five. And I was like, is a high five cool? You cool with a high five? And if they're cool with a high five or a hug, then that means they're usually down to fuck.
I think another thing that you can do is just look whether she's wearing a mask and like how she's wearing her mask. So a chick who's not wearing a mask, she might be worried about COVID, but she's going to be a lot less likely. Or a chick who's wearing her, mask like a burqa or something like that. Those chicks, again, some of them might be down, but it's going to be hesitant. Versus a chick who has it all like halfway, right? So that's something I scan for as I'm walking.
So this is what I'll do. Like if everyone's wearing if you like approach a girl in the grocery store where you have to wear a mask, like I don't wear a mask when I'm outside. So like if they're wearing a mask and I'm not wearing a mask, then I'll be respectful of them. But like if it's in a grocery store and you're both wearing masks because you have to, I don't know how scared about COVID she is or if she's down to like actually get physical. So what I'll do is I'll start talking and then I'll put my mask down to kind of like help her understand what I'm saying. And if she recoils a little bit or whatever, I'm like, okay, this girl, probably not a good idea for me to keep pursuing this because she's worried about it. But if she puts her mask down too and kind of follows suit, then I'm like, okay, this is going well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Dude, who would have thought a year ago that we'd be talking about like mask strategies? Like, can you imagine if a year ago, like me and you did a live stream or something like that? I was like, pretty soon we're gonna have to start really calibrating our game. We're gonna have to like adjust masks, and they're gonna be like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you on, man?
Yeah, it's fucking crazy these days. these
I
days.
know.
But yeah, all that stuff is going to be in the approaching system. I actually talk about all that. But like I said, I filmed the whole thing.
Nice, man.
Even
Nice.
we even got content of me in my hotel room, but that's private.
How do you get around like all the legal shit with that? Like, how are you gonna?
None of it's going to be shown on YouTube. Like, it's all behind a paywall. Everyone's faces are blurred. There, no names are involved. So yeah, that's all of it's done fine.
Like, how far does it go? Like, do you go into like sex or
No. I would never do that. So I just wanted to show guys like you. There were a bunch of girls back there. We were all having a good time. It just looked like a party, dude. It was like
that's like an area that guys there's not much content on. So like that's the area that guys really want to see.
Yeah, it would be nice if you could do it, but it's just I don't think there's any way about doing it without being a total fucking scumbag about it. You know, like kind of what Bradicus was doing. Like I just don't know if there's any way of getting around it.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm not even worried about the scumbag aspect of it if I censor everything really well, because then I just feel like it's just like it's more of the legal issues, like all these states have different laws and like
that's what I mean, man. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I just wouldn't want to lose my business over like that. But I mean, it's definitely like I get these requests all the time. Can you make a video about what to do when the girl's back at your place? And it's like I can tell you, but I've already told people it's like seeing is 100 times better than hearing. But there's like no way I can like show that. Like I can get girls who I'm seeing to agree to that, but then it's not going to be genuine. That's the issue. So that's the problem I run into.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm thinking about doing, and I'm meeting some girls who probably would be down for that, is like, you know, I'm friends with a prostitute right now. I'm trying to make friends with porn stars who would be fucking down for that shit. You know, like teaching girls how to squirt, all of that fun stuff, like escalating in the bedroom. Hell yeah, they'd be fucking down for that shit, you know? Like, subscribe to my OnlyFans afterwards. That'd be helping her out, too.
Yes, for sure. Again, the only issue with that is it's better than nothing, but it would be like when the girl knows that she's being taped, she's going to act a certain way. Like, she's not going to give you the
Yeah, it wouldn't be genuine, so that would be the only problem. But I could make her, like, be like, dude, be shy. Do this.
let me know which porn stars you wind up becoming friends with. We'll join forces.
We'll look them up. Whichever ones are in Austin.
I want to meet Leela Starr, although I think she's out of the game now.
Dude, one of my clients met her.
Really?
I think she lives in San Diego. Yeah, he went skydiving with her.
She's insanely hot.
You like the fake ass and tits that she's got?
Yeah, I like that look.
Yeah. Is that what happens when you stay in Miami too long?
Yeah, there's a lot of that in Miami, fortunately for me. But yeah. It's like all fake tits, fake asses here.
Yeah,
like literally, I would say well over 50% of girls I hook up with have fake tits.
Wow, dude, I gotta come to Miami, dude.
That's crazy, man. You definitely should. Let's do one last question. What do you guys think of Vadim? So I'm assuming he means Vadim from Honest Signals. Honestly, I like him a lot. I've never met him. I don't know shit about him in real life. For all I know, he could be like, whatever, killing puppies and shit like that. But his game, his infield is solid. I would definitely put him in top 10 guys that I personally know of. Like,
okay.
What are your thoughts?
Yes, I don't know Vadim personally. I know him through Mo because I'm friends with Mo, and Mo and I are Mo's helping me out with some marketing stuff. So I know about him through there. That's all I know. I haven't even seen his infield. I haven't seen anything, so I don't know anything about that.
It's solid. He's very witty. Like the closest I would equate him to is like a bald version of like Hank Moody. Like he's very like witty and like that kind of stuff. So or like Russell Brand, but maybe not as charming, kind of something like that. All right, man. So how can guys? So thank you for coming on. How can guys find your content? Follow you, check out your product, all that.
Guys, if you want to check me out, my YouTube channel is TheSingleGuy. Again, I'm not the single guy. That's just the name of the channel. And basically, like I said, I'm going to be coming out with something called the Approaching System, which is going to have a bunch of infield footage in it, showing you guys how I do my stuff. It's going to have basically a step-by-step process for how to walk up and talk to women in your everyday life. Something I'm sure that Alex has talked about too, but I go really, really in depth on this particular thing. So if you want to get notified about that, there's a link to that in pretty much in all of my videos. You can get.
Yeah, we'll link. So after this, send me the links and I'll put them in the description so you guys can.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I'll send them to you. How do I send them to you right now? Am I allowed to?
Just do it over text. It's fine.
Okay, cool. I'll just do it over text. Sweet. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, dude. This is fun.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for coming on. All right, guys. Yeah, thank you for joining. I know this one was significantly shorter than most of them do. Again, I've just been pretty fucked up, but possible.
Get better, man. Get better.
Yeah, we shall see. All right, man. Have a good one.